Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum.
Well, thank you so much, TaRanda, for being willing to be a part of our show. Originally, this was supposed to be you and me and Jeff Anderson, but he had a thing with his church happen today. So
Does he hate me?
Say that again.
Does he hate me and wish I was dead?
Not at all. Like, we all, the five of us, have so much respect and admiration for you as not only just as a singer, but as a human. Like, you're just good people, you and Landon both.
Well, the feeling's mutual. We love y'all.
Well, we appreciate that. But man, and we're going to talk about a couple different things today. But the thing that first of all, how are you and your kids and your husband and everybody getting through COVID and the quarantine?
Well, COVID's been nice to us. We're good. We're all healthy. I had a scare a couple weeks ago with this throat thing that was happening.
Yeah.
And I was sure like I had COVID. You know, it's like anytime you have a sniffle or something does feel, or you're like, oh, that's it. I've got COVID.
Yeah.
But it was just a throat thing that a Z-Pack took care of. So other than that, we're all healthy and happy and together. And we couldn't ask for more. We're so thankful we've had this time.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I had COVID because I went to New York City.
Yeah.
While it was ramping up there. And I was actually in Times Square the night that they announced that Broadway was going to close.
Oh.
And I went with a group of friends from here in Nashville, and 3 of the people that I had been around tested positive for COVID. And then I kind of got sick, but it was like allergy sick, you know, like I didn't really have a fever or anything. And it was like the throat thing or whatever. And then I had a fever and I was like, I need to go get this figured out. So a few days after my fever broke, I went and got tested and it came back negative.
Yeah.
And I was like, what in the world is going on? You know? So anyway. We, as a group of friends, we need to be studied because,
listen, we've been all over the world. I think our immune systems could stand up to about anything. And even
you know what? It's true.
It's like recovery mode.
Yep.
You know?
I think airplanes do that. I think you just
recycled air.
Yeah.
Okay. Were you one of those people that like wore a mask or protection on a plane before any of this happened?
No.
Were you like a germaphobe and wiped everything out? No, I haven't ever either. No, I haven't ever been. And now I'm like anticipating my first flight and like what I'm going to do to be prepared for my first flight. No. It's so ridiculous.
Here's the sad thing for me. This is so indicative of our lives. I'm like, I wonder if I'll have a better chance of being upgraded to first class. Other people not traveling.
Yes.
Maybe I got a shot, you know?
Okay, so I didn't have that thought until now, but the thought I had was, this is really going to affect my status next year.
Ain't going to be diamond anymore.
I'm like, I'm going to pay for every upgrade.
I'll be down from platinum to gold, and
I'll be a gold member.
God help me if I make it down to silver. That's the worst. What is our life?
I know, but those are the perks that we've learned to like appreciate as much as travel is just
it's
up, and it does make a difference.
It really does. Like picking one airline and picking one hotel chain and just, you know, because consistency, it helps. It really does help.
I feel like that's being a good steward of the money that the Lord allows us to have.
Yeah, I do too. So I want to talk about your record. It's called The Healing, right? And it came out last year?
2 years ago. 18.
2 years ago. Okay. And then you had a Christmas album come out, which, by the way, is it's an ooey gooey delicious Christmas album.
Thank you.
It's so, so good. So if anybody watching is like in the mood for Christmas music, go to Spotify, Apple Music, wherever. You need to listen to TaRanda's Christmas album because it is stunning and like just lush and gorgeous and perfect songs and your voice, just all of it. Anyway, sorry,
Well,
I'm done gushing now.
we decided to do a part of that album was my first Christmas album, which is just an EP.
Yeah.
And you know, with Christmas albums, you don't get a lot of mileage out of it because you know it's a certain amount of time of the year that you sell it or
Right.
So we decided to add a trio of players and just me and do a few more songs, and we put out an LP.
Yeah.
So I love it if you like vinyls. And like James said, all the Spotify, Apple Music, all of that, it's on there. But it turns out that I love the trio stuff just as much as the
gorgeous
illustration stuff.
Yeah.
I had so much fun just singing that stuff.
Yeah. And that's, for those of you who don't know, the trio stuff, that's like a jazz, you know, just kind of a jazzy Christmas thing, right? Like that's
just kind of laid back and just singing and good music.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of fuss to it. It's just, it's warm.
Yeah, it is warm. It's cozy.
It is.
Christmas music. I think it's funny that vinyl has become so, like, it's fun. Like, I love to go buy a vinyl.
Yes.
Right?
I do. Yes, absolutely. I'll hit up a yard sale or that I think there might be some cool vinyls in there and just dig through them. We have a cool place out here on our bypass or whatever it's called, 11E. It's this huge place, but they have one specific store that has amazing vinyls.
Yeah.
And so you just go antiquing and look through all this stuff.
That's fun. I bought a console from a yard sale one time, you know, that they like roll around on the ground and stuff. And they didn't realize that they had all their albums still in the console. And so I got an original Mary Poppins vinyl, an original Andy Williams vinyl. And then there was one other one in there that was really special. But anyway, I would turn those on at home, just cooking and stuff. And it was just the best. Like just the crackling of the needle and the vinyl. It's just so cool.
And I love that the generation coming up, I know you're younger than me, but I love that the generation coming up appreciates that texture in the recording and appreciates that sound because my dad, my dad, who you would think is like a vinyl snob, right? He only bought a record player for their home because, you know, we used to have one, they moved on, whatever. So he only bought the record player when my Christmas album came out because he wanted to. So, you know, the record player has its own little speaker. It just sounds so authentic and beautiful. He's so used to hearing full sound now that he went and bought speakers and like those sound bar for his record player.
That's
and
awesome.
like, you're missing the point. The point is to hear all of those old sounds. Like it's not going to sound like it sounds in your car. That's the
right.
So my dad, who you would think would be like, "Oh, I love this sound," was like, "I can't hear it. Let me plug it into all these speakers and get a full sound." I'm like, "You're not going to get it."
But your album called The Healing came out a couple years ago. There's one song there's two songs on there that I adore. And the first one is When the Healing Comes, just because it's such a it's such a powerful lyric, but the way your producer produced it to give it this grand epic cry and prayer, like, you know, sometimes prayers just can't be small. Sometimes prayer just has to like get out of us in a big way, and it feels like what that song does, you know.
I love that. Yeah, so the Healing album is the first album that I had ideas for songs and co-written songs
Really
actually put on an album myself. And so my husband Landon, here's the thing about me. I am fine where I am. I'm content. No matter what it is, I can find a way to be content.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people that has to just keep creating or, like doing new things.
Yeah.
So I'm content. And the reason I haven't even started another album is because they're not making me.
Sure.
And as much as I love to create, it takes me a while to just get into it.
Yeah. Totally.
I guess because I know what all is involved and I'm not ready to dive that way yet.
Yeah.
So when I made the healing, my husband Landon literally said, these days you're going to New York. I've already reserved the rehearsal studio, and you, Joel Lindsay, Wayne Hahn, and Jaron Davis are going to get in a room and you're going to do this.
Nice.
And okay. So I had all these ideas, and then once I get started, I'm all in. There's nothing that matters but that right there, with everything in my life. So we go to New York, and we'd been writing all day, and Joel was throwing out songs. They were so kind to listen to me because I'm a new writer. And they were like, what do you want to sing about? The whole experience is very, very cool. And all three of those guys are my friends.
Yeah.
I felt very at ease just saying all my silly ideas to them.
Sure. Yeah.
So it was nearing the end of the day. I think we literally had something like 15 minutes of studio time left, and I had to use the restroom. I had given them this idea for a song called When the Healing Comes because for those of you who may not know me or know my story, my husband passed away 10 years ago, and this year's 10 years. And I went through this horrific depression for several years and medication and all of this. And so now that God's healing me through all of that, I wanted to write a song about when complete healing comes.
Yeah.
And no matter what it is you're dealing with your life, if it's an illness or, depression, anxiety, cancer, heart issues, whatever it is, we get a healing on earth.
Yeah.
But if we believe scripture, we don't actually get our healing until Jesus comes back. We're here and we may have to struggle with the day-to-day. After you have heart surgery, you have to struggle with the day-to-day after that. The cancer, and with depression, there's a reoccurrence rate. And so first of all, I wanted to write this song for hope for myself.
Sure.
That there will be a day when I don't have to deal with depression anymore, and it won't come back, and have to fight through those things. So I presented in that way, and I said, and the other thing is, when I read Revelation, sometimes I'm like, there's no way that can happen. I just can't wrap my mind around how naturally that's going to take place, how physically graves are going to open, and all of that happening in the moment. I'm just like, I don't understand what's happening. So I wanted to write a song about the second coming of Christ being the healing.
Yeah.
In a perspective in which I could understand and want to happen. Does that make sense?
Yep, totally.
So that's kind of where it came from. I explained that to them, and Wayne goes, there hasn't been a song like For Every Mountain in a long time. That steps up and up and up, and it's this big chorus.
Yeah.
And he goes, as dramatic as you are. And I'm like, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Some people that would insult, I was like, that's the sweetest thing you've ever said. As dramatic as you are, he said, I feel like we should step up the chorus. And I was like, yeah, I love that. I love having that repetitive chorus like that. So Jaron Davis goes to the piano. I said, I'm going to use the restroom. I come back, and Jaron has, and I was like, what is that? So literally in a matter of 10 minutes, we had the bulk of it down, and then just kind of fine-tuned the lyric. And but we had our direction on that, and it became what it is. And so Jason Webb and Wayne and I ended up producing that track. Of course, Jason Webb and Wayne are brilliant. And then I just threw my 2 cents in when I felt like, I feel like I could deliver it this way better, or I feel like this. So it was a very hands-on process and a very hands-on song. And so I'm just glad you love it. It means so much to me.
I mean, it's a beautiful song. And to know that I didn't realize that you had co-written that.
Yeah.
That is such a vulnerable thing to do, songwriting.
Oh my gosh. If I hadn't known them as well as I did, I would have stayed silent the entire day and that song would not have been.
Yeah.
But you know, Joel was throwing out, his idea was The Stoners Rolled Away. That was Joel, and we finished that one. But when you have something in your mind, like songwriters always said, this one's my baby, and I didn't understand it until now. I'm like, yeah, I brought that one up. Like something special to know that that was your heart now written down.
Totally. I'm learning that for myself. Like, I'm reading a couple of books right now, and every one of them are about creative writing, and not necessarily songwriting, but just writing fictitious stories or short stories or whatever. And every single author is talking about you have to pull from a place of truth, something that is true in you. Now that may be wrapped around a fictitious story or your creativity, lingo, whatever. But like, it has to come from an authentic place, and that's when it most resonates with other people. And I think that's the scary part, for me at least, is because it's an exposing thing to put your heart out there like that.
It is. And I couldn't have given that, I couldn't have helped with that song at all unless I had lived through what I've lived through.
Yeah.
And so I found that even if it is just writing, the most to me and the things I can deliver the best are the things I've walked through or the experiences I've had in life.
Yeah.
That is a vulnerable place because there are days where I'm just like, I am so glad nobody's here today.
Yeah.
So when you write that day down and then everybody knows about that day, it's a very vulnerable place to be. But I also think, James, that when you are able to write that down and everybody hear about that day, that God heals you through that.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah, it's so true. I can never sing. I've even had on some records, I've called the writers and said, can you rewrite this? Because I don't relate to this verse. I can't deliver that.
Yeah.
Or I could do this if it were more like this.
Yep.
And thankfully the writers are so gracious to do that for me. But you're right. You have to kind of be living through what you're writing down. You can't write someone else's experience.
Right. I thought the other song that you had on your album that was interesting to me was because I love this song, and it's a cover, and I love the artist who wrote it, but the song is Somebody Told Me About Jesus.
Yeah. I
love Andre Crouch so much. And that was from one of his newer albums. It wasn't like a classic.
Right? From the journey.
Yeah. Gosh, like, what about that song made you want to sing it?
How fun it was.
Sure.
I thought, and I love different sounding tracks, and it gets me in trouble sometimes because a lot of people are like, oh, I don't like it's confusing. So I called Jim Hammerly and I said, I think I want to do Somebody Told Me About Jesus. And he created this track that was just stupid. I mean, it was
good.
When he started, I'm like, this is way better than anything I can sing. But I just wanted a song that was fun and you can turn it on in the car and just smile and be happy and sing. And then have come to pass. The Healing record was a dream for me. I wanted to be able to write, and I wanted to be in on the production of it and the arranging and all of that, and write melodies that I wanted to sing. I think melodies are missing in a lot of today's music. And so as a singer, I love to sing pretty melodies. Anyway, The Healing was an amazing dream come true for me. My Christmas record on vinyl, I know that seems small, but that was a big deal for me. My husband tried to talk me out of it because you're not going to sell enough to pay for the production of it. I said, I don't care. That's what I want.
I want that too.
what I would love to do and what I'm going to be working towards, I would love to do not even a tour. I don't think it would be successful enough to be a tour, but maybe a couple nights or like twice a year.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to rent out a theater, a small theater,
Mm-hmm.
and have a small orchestra on stage
Mm.
and a grand piano and some background singers, and just do like, even at Christmas time, if it were like a night of classics at Christmas,
Mm.
and integrate like classic songs with Christmas songs and with the orchestra, and just, you know, the old fashioned mic and just a table with some tea and stories. I mean, I would love to do that. And because that's foreign to me.
Sure.
Church work, which I love so much, I'm used to all of that. I would love to do a theater night with just everything live and just sit back and relax.
Yeah.
I would love that.
Yeah.
So one day I'll do that. I'm working
Yeah,
toward
you will.
And, you know, there are a couple different albums I'd love to make. I think I'll probably need to do one more gospel album before I branch out into anything else. But I want to see my grandbabies someday. I mean, there's so much of life that I'm just looking forward to living. And the big things for me are watching my kids grow up.
Yeah.
You know, those are the dreams for me every day when I wake up. It's just, what are they going to get into that I get to watch them become who they are. And so my dreams change every day. There's something either personal or professionally that I'm like, oh, that'd be so cool.
Yeah. From a professional standpoint and from a creative standpoint, like what do you think for you are your biggest obstacles? Like what would keep you from doing the theater show with the orchestra?
My insecurity is my biggest obstacle.
You insecure?
One of the things, you know, that people may not know about me is that I have to constantly overcome insecurity, and not with my gifting. Put a song in front of me, I'm totally confident. I'll sing whatever it is. Now I may second guess it afterwards, but that or should have done. But I feel like that's the perfectionist in me and not the insecure part. But but my insecurity, like I was saying, to even get started on an album, or a really difficult thing for me this week was to do the church service I did yesterday, because the fear I had over COVID.
Yeah.
I did Georgia, and it was very clean and very protected and social, all of that. But just the fear of getting in the car and going to a different state, and the insecurity of stepping on that stage for the first time after 2 months, and am I going to be able to do this? And so I'm very insecure in areas. So that's my biggest obstacle, is getting started on something, because I'm afraid it's not going to be what it should be.
Is that a standard that you hold for yourself? Like, is it I want it to be good enough, or is it something that you're waiting for someone else to tell you that it's good enough? Sorry.
I think it's probably both. I think first of all, the standard I hold for myself is pretty high. And you know, we were talking about this before, where even down to social media things, if I think it's not going to be good, I'd rather not even try it. I don't attempt it if I don't know that the outcome's going to be good. And so like Facebook Lives, all of that stuff, it's like, I don't want to deal with the stress of making sure this is right, because if it's wrong, and then you have to deal with the comments and like, I'd rather just not do it. So I think at one point it's my expectation for the everyday thing. And then if I achieve what I've set for myself, then I want you to say, you did a good job.
Yeah.
The thing is, the security of both things of, I mean, have you ever been so happy with yourself over something that you were able to achieve, and then get a negative feedback? It makes you think, did I really need to do that? Or maybe I'm wrong with the way I feel about, you know, like, That's my insecurity is.
And I think a lot of people do. And I think there are a lot of incredible musicians out there who don't realize how incredible they are because they can't seem to find the courage enough to just take that next step. Like,
well, Barbara Streisand didn't do stage for how long?
yeah.
Because of her insecurity of being on the live.
Yeah.
And so when I found that out, I was like, I totally get that.
Yep.
It's a fear of performance that you just have to overcome and realize the gifting you have.
Yeah. I think it's, in addition to being a fear of performance, I think it's also a fear of rejection.
Rejection.
That's
a big one. Well, and that all goes back to the heart you're pouring out.
Yeah.
In what you're creating. Right. And so it's not like, I mean, I don't know what to compare it to right now, but it's someone's literally judging the core of you.
Yeah.
And not your shoe selection, but what's in your core. And so it's terrifying to be rejected.
I think of all the songs that have gone unwritten that were amazing songs that didn't get written because of this, what we're talking about, you know. And that's kind of what we hope for this podcast and this vlog, is that people will find the courage and recognize that people who have seen some level of success in the music industry normalize these feelings, because we all feel them, you know. But it just takes just putting it out there.
And here's the thing, even Colonel Sanders was 60s before the chicken recipe.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Now he's like, a silhouette of him is popular all over the world.
Right, exactly.
Became popular. I mean, and he was in his 60s before, and he had this recipe long before that, and nobody would buy it. And now it's a worldwide phenomenon still to this day.
Right.
So you can't let age or a chicken recipe that you don't think is
right.
You know.
Yep. But, and then it goes back to what you were saying earlier too. It's like, once I took that step and I did it, and you wrote these songs, something that you had always wanted to do, so much joy was waiting for you in that, you know. And I think God does that at times. He puts a dream and a desire in our hearts. And then when we do it, we find so much joy. Who cares what the end result will be? I just found the joy in doing it, whatever it was, you know. And that honestly is, whether it makes me famous or whether it makes, you know, sells millions or gets me millions of dollars, doesn't matter, you know. Just stepping out and doing it.
It's just happy with what you know you're supposed to do.
Yes. We always end these with some rapid fire questions. Do you
Which I'm terrible at. So
these are easy. These are easy. I'm not going to throw.
I'll say
Tell me your favorite philosopher. These are super simple. And easy. Jesus was my favorite philosopher.
I loved what he said in scriptures.
Scriptures. And first opinions and second hesitations. Sorry.
My first.
Okay, so we're gonna rapid through these for you.
Oh Lord. Okay.
Okay. Are you ready?
No.
Here we go. Number 1, favorite meal.
Italian.
Okay. Like spaghetti, rigatoni, or like, do you have a?
Pretty much any Italian dish I will love.
Okay. I love the Italian stuff.
Anything carby, bready, saucy, I'm in.
Saucy. That's me. Number 2, favorite style to sing.
You know, I have to say gospel, which it really is, because I feel like I'm the most passionate there. That comes from my heart. Yeah. But if I'm at the house and I'm just singing, it's some sort of standard.
Like a Classic American songbook.
Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome.
Definitely.
Okay. 3, last show you binged and loved.
Oh, are we allowed to say the bad ones? Okay, there was a show on ABC 10 years ago called Revenge that I never finished. I'm finishing that, and I love that show. Am I allowed to say that one?
Yes, Revenge. I love that show, so yes, you can say.
Finishing. I have a few more episodes to the very end, but gosh, I love it.
It was so good. A concert you'll never forget.
I just forgot every concert I've ever been. Okay, I'll never forget a Gaither concert that I went to as a teenager that Michael English was there, and where I thought, I'm going to do that when I grow up.
Yeah, that was the same for me. 14 years old, Gaither Homecoming concert in Birmingham. I thought to myself, that's what I want to do.
The first time I ever did a Gaither Homecoming concert, I was like, this is it. This is it.
We have reached the top.
I've waited my whole life to sing Sky Full of Angels, third in the program.
Yes. Oh, it's so much fun. I'm still waiting for my day.
Oh, man.
Yes.
You know what? First time I did the Gaither Homecoming concert, I was like hyperventilating. Yeah. And it was like towards the front of the program, so like nobody remembered me by the middle of the, because by then David Phelps had been up there and just crushed it, and everyone else. And so my 12-year-old, you okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to get you out of here. Just give me the sign.
Yeah.
Okay. Favorite author?
Whoever I'm reading at the moment, honestly.
Really?
Yeah. And right now I'm not reading anything. I love autobiographies.
Yeah.
I love to read stories about people's lives. And
so you don't have like an Amazon notification. This person has released this book. Get it today.
Not really. I know that makes me dumb, but
No.
When I was younger, I didn't love to read. I didn't develop a love for reading until I was like, 18, 19, 20, and I was on the road, and I would read all the time. And then I had kids, and I just didn't have time to sit down, when they were younger.
Yeah.
So depending on what flow my life is at the moment, and
Get it.
At this point, I love biographies and autobiographies. But.
Okay, fun. Biggest singing inspiration?
Really? The guys in VeriTalks.
Oh, wow.
Has anyone said that yet?
No, nobody has. It'll be about 40 years before we get that one.
I think when I was younger, every gospel artist influenced me, from Vestal Goodman to Sandy Patty to the Rambos to all of those people really influenced me. Then when I was older, I really got into Barbra Streisand, Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin,
Interesting. That's the same thing for me. I was really into gospel music as a kid. And then I realized that there are a whole lot of other singers out there who are also.
I don't know if you were raised like me. If you were in Alabama, you probably were. I was raised in Georgia. Mm-hmm. But we, in my church, and I'm not trying to throw a negative thing at my church, but we weren't allowed to go to movies and roller skating or anything like that. We could only listen to Christian music. So growing up like that, I literally did not realize the greatness of so many other singers and artists. So really gospel music was just bred in me from birth. That's all. And occasionally Ronnie Millsap, because he would sing a gospel song.
Oh, okay.
But it wasn't until I was older and I would sneak in the radio.
Yeah.
And catch whatever adult station was on. Yeah.
We weren't that strict by any means. Like, I remember the first record I ever heard all the way through was the Eagles' Hell Freezes Over record.
We couldn't buy that because they thought it was about hell.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No, it was. I actually went and listened to that album again recently.
And it's so good.
Oh, it's so good.
Still so good.
Our rapid fire ain't so rapid.
See, I told you I'm terrible at it.
No, it's me. It's me. It's not you. Okay. One thing you miss about being on the road. Spring water. No, I'm just kidding.
At my convenience.
Yeah.
I miss the quickness.
Yeah.
Everything has slowed down, which I appreciate, but I miss being here and there and there and there. I miss just popping.
Yep. You get into that pace and then it's hard to adjust. I've had the hardest time slowing down.
Yeah.
I don't want to anymore. Okay. Dream role on Broadway.
Tracy Turnblad. I want to be Tracy so bad.
Yes. Good morning, Baltimore.
Yes. I could kill it. You can't stop that avalanche of the races down the hill.
Yes.
I would love to be Tracy or Eliza Doolittle. I would love to be.
Yes. That would be, you would slay either one of them.
Henry Higgins, Justy White. I could.
Love that. Two more. So something, and you might have already answered this earlier, something people get wrong about you.
Probably my confidence level. They probably think, because I always try to overcome my insecurity with confidence.
Mm-hmm.
So, it can look totally different from what's actually going on inside.
Sure. Well, I would say, as a stage person, you have to be able to step up and do it.
Oh yeah.
And yeah. But when we've interacted off stage or out of, whenever, you've never come across as arrogant or diva. Like,
thank you, honey.
I've never gotten that air from you, You're good people.
Well, what I said before, I'm grateful to be where I am. And I understand it could totally be a different story for me. So I'm just thankful to be here at all times. But like I said, put a mic in front of me and I'll sing a song. I have confidence in my ability, but I have to okay, you're going to go up there and you're going to sing this song. And then my kids are like,
So I think you might have just answered the last question, which is something that you're deeply grateful for.
oh, breath in my lungs.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the simple things these days.
Yeah.
I'm deeply grateful for health and my family, the opportunities God gives me. And I'm even more grateful for the opportunities he doesn't give me. You have to have a place where you're just like, oh, thank God that wasn't me. Yeah. And I think that's where I'm living today. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah.
Wherever that is.
Yeah. Okay, so tell all the people where they can get your stuff.
So any CDs, the Christmas vinyl we talked about are on my website, TaRanda Music, TaRanda music.com. You can find all of that there in my store. I'm on Facebook, TaRanda Music, Twitter, which I don't really use Twitter much. Do you?
No. I read Twitter, but I don't tweet.
It's kind of the same. I forget about it. And Instagram, all of that, TaRanda. I think Instagram might be TaRanda Greene.
Which, following you and Landon on Instagram is one of the highlights of my day. Anytime your stories pop up, I'm like, oh, watch.
You never know. You never.
And that's what makes it so wonderful.
We get several requests to pitch our life to E or somewhere to reality show. It literally is. Our lives are lifetime movies.
Yeah, it's amazing. Wow. TaRanda, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And we just adore you and cannot wait to get out on the road and got to do something together again very, very soon.
I would love that so much. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Ta-da!